Respected Srimati Sonia Gandhi ji, President of the Congress Party, His Excellency Mr. Hamid Karzai, His Excellency Mr. John Kufur, Her Majesty the Queen Mother of Bhutan, His Excellency Mr. Madhav K. Nepal, His Excellency Mr. Amre Musa, His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Katharda, His Excellency Mr. Obasanjo, Shri Rahul Gandhi, Shri Anand Sharma, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen who are fortunate enough to be participating in this most important gathering. I am truly delighted to be here at this historic gathering. This commemorative conference is not just a tribute to Jawaharlal Nehru or to the ideals and views he came to symbolize. It is a reminder of the continued relevance of Jawaharlal Nehru's worldview for our times, indeed for all times. We gather here to commemorate the 125th birth anniversary of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Congress President Srimati Sonia Gandhi yesterday delivered a masterly discourse which provided the lead for the deliberation of this conference. Eminent speakers like former presidents Hamid Karzai of Afghanistan, John Kufur of Ghana, and General Obasanjo of Nigeria spelled out the essence of the Nehruvian spirit and its abiding value in the 21st century. Other distinguished speakers, including veteran South African freedom fighter Ahmed Kathrada and Amre Musa of the Arab League, articulated the various facets of Jawaharlal Nehru's worldview and its global impact. I believe the deliberations have been truly insightful and constructive. They have pointed to the essential principles that Nehru espoused and which continue to be relevant today. We in India are truly honored and humbled by the global response to this magnificent conference. I salute each one of our distinguished guests who have come and shared their views on a subject of truly global import. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was a great freedom fighter, a great leader of great compassion and strong convictions. His faith in inclusive democracy, secularism, and socio-economic empowerment of all peoples was unwavering. Nehru nurtured a deeply scientific temperament and wanted his countrymen to imbibe this spirit. He was a great institution builder with an enlightened approach and a global statesman par excellence. His notable contributions in supporting freedom movements and the processes of decolonization of Asia and Africa are universally acknowledged. Jawaharlal Nehru's worldviews are based on universal values. Political ideologies come and go, some with doubtful legacies and others with terrible consequences. Many isms have battled for our minds, but few have succeeded in touching our hearts. Nehru saw socialism not merely as an economic, rigid doctrine, but as a way of life which called for a profound transformation in the habits and instincts of men and women. He expressed his conviction that the key to solving the problems of India lay in socialism. As India's first Prime Minister, he devised a pragmatic roadmap designed to promote development with social justice. The idea of a mixed economy, the coexistence of public and private sectors was an important component of Nehru's thought processes. For Nehru, socialism was basically a passion for equity and equality. Nehru's brilliance lay in being able to contextualize socialism for India in the global context. He provided the example of Buddhism, which originated in India but put on the garb of the country to which it went. In other words, Buddhism became a part of the national soul of whichever country it traveled to. Therefore, Nehru said that one must choose the form of socialism that is compatible with the country's genius and could answer a nation's specific needs and requirements. Nehru is remembered not just as we gather to celebrate his 125th birth anniversary, but across the world for his deep commitment to parliamentary democracy and gender equality, Afro-Asian solidarity, and non-alignment. He espoused the values of democracy, inclusiveness, and empowerment for all the people of India. All his life he strove to pursue these in the national and international arenas. I believe that democracy, inclusion, and empowerment in a multi-ethnic, multi-religious world can play a very important role in preventing fratricidal conflicts and lead to peace and understanding among people and among nations. We honor Jawaharlal Nehru's values and vision because by temperament and training he was a democrat. He viewed democracy both as a form of government and as a way of life. It is therefore but natural that Nehru's vision should have had democracy as one of its main pillars. Nehru's support to a democratic way of life can be attributed to his faith in individual liberty. In Unity of India, Jawaharlal Nehru wrote, and I quote, "Civil liberty is not merely for us an airy doctrine or a pious wish, but something which we consider essential for the orderly development and progress of a nation. It is the civilized approach to a problem on which people differ, the non-violent way of dealing with it," unquote. Ladies and gentlemen, the essence of Nehru's political philosophy is empowerment of every individual, irrespective of religion, caste, creed, class, or community. Representative democracy is the institutional form in which modern societies have sought to empower individuals. Democracy is not just having periodic elections, and keeping alive democratic institutions. It is about respecting the innate right of human beings. Democracy helps in asserting the right to dissent and protects the dignity and self-respect of every human being. A civilized society must offer space for discussion and dialogue. All human progress must be based on the firm foundation of societal progress. But in a modern democracy, we must respect the role of institutions that seek to create and translate that consensus into policy action. Nehru's worldview and message is relevant in every corner of the globe today. Where conflict and violence pervade the human heart, Nehru would have sought peace and harmony and made every effort to promote a democratic and multilateral world order where consensus building rather than unilateralism would be the abiding and guiding principle. This message must go from this conference. On the midnight of 14th August 1947, Jawaharlal Nehru moved a resolution in the Constituent Assembly requesting members to dedicate themselves to the service of India and the world. The resolution bears eloquent testimony to Nehru's genuine desire to harmonize India's interests with the interests of the world at large. The resolution states, and I quote, "At this solemn moment, when the people of India, through suffering and sacrifice, have secured freedom, I, a member of the Constituent Assembly of India, do dedicate myself in all humility to the service of India and the people to the end that this ancient land attain her rightful place in the world and make her full and willing cooperation to the promotion of world peace and the welfare of mankind." Unquote. Ladies and gentlemen, Jawaharlal Nehru was eager to work for world peace and prosperity and was very anxious that the people of India should develop a global outlook. He taught Indians to take independent decisions without fear or favor in international affairs. He also taught us the value of building a viable consensus. This is the ability to foster tolerance for the other man's point of view. Violent conflict never allows this. Non-alignment has its origin in India's colonial experience and the non-violent struggle for India's freedom. This left India determined to be the master of her fate in an international system then dominated politically by the Cold War. The principles of non-alignment that Nehru articulated were the preservation of India's freedom of action internationally through a refusal to align with any bloc or alliance, and non-violence and international cooperation being the means of settling international disputes. Non-alignment brought India considerable international prestige among newly independent states that shared India's concerns about the military confrontation between the superpowers and the influence of the former colonial powers. The principles of non-alignment help the developing countries come together and can today help in bringing the emerging and developing countries to cooperate for an orderly and equitable management of the evolving, growing, interdependent global economy and polity. In fact, the core principles are still relevant and can help India play a more active role in world politics in the 21st century. There are other ideas of Nehru which are of great relevance that relate to the way we wish to organize our society and our polity. They are germane to the way we wish to conduct our national and international affairs. They are relevant to the path of development we wish to pursue. One such idea was the Nehruvian vision of a pluralistic democracy so vividly expressed in the discovery of India. I quote, "I am convinced that nationalism can only come out of the ideological fusion of Hindu, Muslim, Sikh and other groups in India. That does not and need not mean the extinction of any real culture of any group, but it does mean a common national outlook to which other matters are subordinated." Unquote. This idea of Nehru's conception is the idea of unity in diversity. This idea of pluralism, the idea that there need be no conflict of civilizations, lies at the root of the possibility of working towards a confluence of civilizations. This idea, I believe, has universal relevance. In a world enveloped by conflict and hatred, these ideas come as a way of sunshine, giving us hope and renewing our faith in a common humanity. I sincerely hope that this conference can convey this message loud and clear to the world at large. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for this opportunity to share my.
I thank Dr. Manmohan Singh for his valedictory address, reaffirming the relevance